The White Tundra, a frozen land where only monsters survive. Every creature here was born to hunt and kill. Even beneath the snow, deadly predators waited for prey. Yet one man had survived this frozen nightmare alone. To every monster, he was the true predator. Suddenly, the silent mountain shook violently. A gigantic serpent burst from beneath the ice. Instead of running, the barbarian charged straight ahead. One devastating strike sent the monster reeling, but this fight was only the beginning. Even after defeating the spider, he couldn't resist mocking the clueless barbarians. Greta proudly celebrated surviving for nearly a week, completely missing his sarcasm. But moments later, the poisoned meat finally took effect. The barbarian immediately realized something was terribly wrong. Dark energy erupted around him as his anger instantly exploded. The others happily congratulated themselves, unaware of the disaster unfolding. Foam poured from his mouth as the deadly poison overwhelmed his body. Panicking, Greta rushed over while everyone froze in shock. She desperately slapped him, refusing to let him die. Later, he recalled the journey that had brought him to this frozen wilderness. He searched every corner of Earth, chasing the impossible dream of another world. From towering mountains to the world's southern edge, his search never ended. Then, the miracle finally happened. His desperate wish was unexpectedly answered. When he opened his eyes, he found himself traveling through a frozen fantasy land. The freezing wind was merciless, forcing everyone to bundle up against the deadly cold. The rookie questioned the mission, convinced crossing the White Tundra was pure suicide. Their captain immediately shut down the complaints before fear spread through the expedition. Although everyone agreed beforehand, the brutal reality was far worse than expected. Even inside the carriage, the bitter cold seeped through every layer of clothing. Noticing her discomfort, the elderly butler politely checked if the young lady was all right. Inside the carriage sat Milena Akasha, a noblewoman who remained surprisingly calm despite the harsh journey. Outside, the exhausted escort struggled through the blizzard, while her butler silently disapproved of their condition. Milena defended the escorts, reminding everyone they were risking their lives to protect the convoy. Unable to ignore their suffering, she suggested letting the freezing escorts ride inside the carriage. The butler immediately refused, warning that the White Tundra was home to terrifying monsters. Hearing his answer, Milena quietly accepted reality, though she couldn't hide her disappointment. The butler revealed an ancient legend about an emperor obsessed with conquering the frozen wilderness. With countless soldiers behind him, the emperor boldly marched his army into the endless snowfields. Years later, he returned alone, leaving behind every soldier who had followed him into the tundra. Driven nearly insane, the emperor warned that the greatest danger wasn't the monsters lurking there. The emperor's final warning wasn't about monsters. It was about the mysterious barbarians of the White Tundra. According to the legend, anyone who encountered them never returned alive from the frozen wasteland. The butler dismissed the terrifying tale as nothing more than an old legend passed through generations. But Milena wasn't convinced. Too many creatures from the legend had already proven to be real. The butler smiled, insisting that no living person had ever actually seen a barbarian. Although she nodded, Milena couldn't shake the uneasy feeling growing inside her. Outside, the escort suddenly stopped, sensing that something unusual was waiting ahead. Through the blinding snowstorm, a lone silhouette slowly emerged from the swirling white mist. The escort leader tried to stay calm, but his voice revealed the danger approaching them. As the mysterious figure drew closer, everyone realized it was heading straight toward the convoy. Fear spread instantly as every guard reached for their weapon, preparing for the unknown threat. The lone figure stepped through the blizzard, his towering silhouette becoming clearer with every stride. Then everyone froze. The impossible legend standing before them was a real barbarian. Instead of attacking, the barbarian casually claimed he was taking a break from his own tribe. With an unexpected smile, the mysterious warrior introduced himself as the Ashen Barbarian, Katal. His attention shifted from the guards to the wagons, quietly studying their valuable cargo. The escorts nervously admitted they were merely hired swords protecting a merchant caravan. After a brief thought, Katal warned them to turn back before continuing deeper into the tundra. Then his eyes settled on the luxurious carriage, as if searching for someone important inside. The moment he asked about the carriage's owner, Melena's heart skipped a beat. Instead of demanding tribute or blood, Katal made a request that stunned everyone present. The mercenaries could hardly believe their ears, convinced they had misunderstood the barbarian. Katal calmly repeated himself, offering to guide them safely across the deadly frozen tundra. The captain searched for hidden motives, unable to trust such an unbelievable offer. Katal answered with an easy grin, reminding them they would already be dead otherwise. The nervous escorts turned toward their employer, waiting for the final decision. Even Melena struggled to understand why the legendary barbarian wanted to protect them. The captain explained Katal's proposal, leaving the decision entirely in Melena's hands. Before answering, everyone silently wondered whether fighting him was even possible. Standing calmly against the blizzard, Katal waited patiently, completely confident in the outcome. Despite every warning, Melena made a decision that surprised her entire escort. She accepted Katal's offer, choosing trust over fear in the frozen wilderness. The captain respectfully delivered her answer before stepping aside without hesitation. With a satisfied smile, Katal welcomed the decision as if he expected it all along. Instead of waiting, Katal calmly walked straight toward the merchant's carriage himself. He assured the nervous guards they weren't his target. He only wanted to meet his employer. The mercenaries froze, unsure whether stopping the legendary barbarian was even possible. One frightened guard suggested blocking him, but nobody believed they actually could. The captain silently admitted the truth. They stood absolutely no chance against Katal. Ignoring every whisper behind him, Katal continued toward the carriage with unwavering confidence. The old butler panicked, unable to understand why Melena trusted the legendary barbarian. Katal calmly reassured him, insisting he had no intention of harming anyone inside. Standing before the living legend, Melena struggled to hide her overwhelming nervousness. Gathering her courage, she politely introduced herself while Katal returned the greeting with surprising courtesy. Instead of threatening them, Katal noticed the carriage's impossible warmth despite the deadly blizzard outside. Melena explained the warmth came from magic, leaving Katal visibly intrigued by the revelation. Realizing their danger, Katal offered complete protection, but only if they accepted one simple condition. The carriage fell silent as everyone waited anxiously to hear what the barbarian truly wanted. Then Katal revealed his request. He wanted to learn everything about the outside world. The legendary barbarian desired knowledge more than treasure, leaving everyone completely speechless. Melena confirmed he wanted knowledge beyond the white tundra, and Katal immediately agreed. Katal assured her she had nothing to lose by accepting his unusual condition. After a brief hesitation, Melena finally agreed to share everything she knew. Pleased by her decision, Katal politely asked for the name of his new employer. She introduced herself as Melena of the Akasha family, earning Katal's respectful smile. With a grin, Katal introduced himself and looked forward to working beside her. Katal revealed he had always dreamed of fantasy worlds before awakening inside this frozen land. Without answers or explanations, survival became his only goal in the endless frozen wilderness. Leading a tribe of barbarians, he hunted terrifying monsters every single day to survive. For countless years, Katal fought relentlessly, searching for a way to escape the frozen prison. Melena wondered how Katal uncovered the secret hidden inside their merchant wagons so quickly. Katal calmly revealed the rattling steel exposed the weapons concealed inside every wagon. Melena admitted the Empire and Kingdom were locked in a brutal, ongoing war. Despite overwhelming enemies, the kingdom still survived thanks to its legendary swordmaster and hero. Curious, Katal immediately asked what kind of incredible powers those legendary warriors possessed. Surprised by his ignorance, Melena asked whether he had ever heard of Mist. Katal admitted he'd never left the frozen tundra, knowing nothing about the outside world's power. Patiently, Melena began explaining the mysterious force known as Mist and its users. She explained second-tier warriors could wield Mist directly, making them formidable battlefield fighters. First-tier elites fully transform mist into aura or mana, surpassing ordinary warriors completely. Beyond ordinary rank stood transcendence, beings powerful enough to reshape both sky and earth effortlessly. Heroes surpassed mist itself, wielding legendary power capable of changing the fate of entire nations. Milena explained even third-tier warriors were revered, proving just how terrifying true elites were. Katal realized he'd spent countless years surviving, never learning how vast this world truly was. Beyond the frozen prison waited an incredible fantasy world, and Katal finally longed to escape. His resolve hardened into one unwavering goal: leave the tundra and explore the world beyond. The moving carriage rattled onward as Milena cautiously questioned whether Katal was truly a barbarian. Katal calmly admitted it, reminding her she'd already recognized his identity from the beginning. Milena quietly confirmed the ancient legends were exactly why she immediately recognized the barbarian. The legendary barbarian's true identity was finally acknowledged, leaving the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. Katal blinked in disbelief, shocked that an entire legend had been built around him. Laughing, Katal realized the strange man he'd met was actually the Emperor himself. Changing the subject, Katal questioned why such valuable weapons crossed the deadly tundra. Milena lowered her gaze, admitting her family desperately needed money to survive. Once wealthy merchants, her family now faced crushing debt and fought to avoid ruin. Katal immediately concluded the weapons were destined for the struggling kingdom's desperate armies. Milena froze, stunned that Katal had uncovered their secret trade so effortlessly. Analyzing supply and demand, Katal explained the cargo would earn an enormous fortune. He deduced the dangerous tundra route was the kingdom's only remaining supply passage. Katal calmly concluded Milena's family ruled lands bordering the empire itself. Milena reluctantly admitted his deduction was completely correct, unable to hide her surprise. The legend described a foolish barbarian, yet Katal's brilliance shattered every expectation she held. Unable to believe it anymore, Milena questioned whether Katal was truly a barbarian. Suddenly, the wagon lurched violently, startling everyone inside the carriage without warning. Katal calmly sensed the disturbance first, announcing they had an uninvited guest outside. A gigantic black slime monster erupted from the snow, blocking the caravan's path instantly. The guards froze in terror as they recognized the horrifying creature before them. Curious instead of frightened, Katal calmly asked what the strange monster was called. Trembling with fear, Milena explained the creature was a terrifying monster from ancient records. She warned everyone that this nightmare was far more dangerous than ordinary tundra beasts.